Honestly, it's better to do it scared and imperfect than not at all. It's better to just go for it. Half the time I'm doing anything, making a video, performing live, making music, putting anything out there, I'm scared. There's like this internal thing inside of me that's like, oh, I don't know if this is good. I don't know if this is right, but this is what's coming out. This is what I've generated. So it's true and it's real. Fear and doubt put you in a prison where you're just easily controlled and manipulated. And that's what the news does. The world is always going through tragedy. Change is in power. Maybe in one couple centuries, this power is here and then it shifts. That's just what happens. But as human beings, we always adapt. We're adapting beings. So you have to trust in your ability to adapt. And that means being able to take criticism. I still struggle with my self-worth and my self-esteem, just like anybody else. But I don't let it paralyze me, because you have to be in this constant state of motion. Fear and doubt will keep you stuck in the same place. You're just going to be thinking, making excuses, pushing things back, because you're scared of an outcome. You're scared of not getting the desired result because of what? Control. You want to have control over everything. And guess what? You can't. You're not in control. And I think this is perfect if you just saw my Shravana Nakshatra shorts. You don't have control with your life. Like you can only control, yes, you have free will. You control your choices, what you choose to do each day. Are you going to choose to be in fear and hide away from your true potential? Even if it's jacked up and it's not how you imagine it to be, at least you can say you tried. Here's how I think about everything. If I die tomorrow, I know that I tried. I know that part of me put out my creativity. Part of me expressed myself. I was able to share and create and just live my life in a way that was, reflective of who I am as a soul on this planet Earth. We all have an expiration date. We don't know when that is. It can be, and that's why I love so openly, and I really try to connect to people on a deep level, because you don't know. Everybody I meet, I feel like is like a sacred. It's like a sacred experience. I think of fate. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. On my journey in this body, this is what I'm doing. So I can't be locked in fear. I can't be locked in doubt all the time. I'm not saying I'm exempt. I have moments where I will spend weeks confused and in doubt. I have a 12th house moon, okay? You always come out of it. You just need to come out. You need to come out. And why do we get locked in fear? Often it's what we're consuming. Could be our diet. Could be diet in combination with you're just watching the news every day. Could be a certain belief that you're holding on about yourself and what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the world around you, and your limitations, right? You gotta break free from all that stuff. You gotta be like, all right, no, I'm done. So what I do is if I'm feeling stuck in any way, shape, or form, I have to figure out a solution, right? And when you first experience something that makes you fearful or doubt yourself, you're not always looking for a solution because you're too stuck in that frenzy. There's friction. Let me draw a picture. Let's say this is you, right? This is you. You're minding your business. You're happy. You're living your life, right? You go to work, you go to school, friends, family, interests, hobbies, right? Everything's just kind of in this flow. You're in the flow, right? You're in your little flow of control, right? But then, boom, something external happens. For example, me. I just had the flu again for the second time this winter, okay? Boom, something external happens and then it begins to affect everything here. When it starts to affect all these things, then your mood begins to shift. That halo begins to disappear. And now with that external penetration of something that you can't control, this is something out here that you cannot control, enters your field where you just were enjoying all of these things. And now you're vulnerable. You don't feel stable here because something outside of your control just came and attacked you. You maybe got pulled over. Maybe somebody hit your car. Maybe, who knows? Something outside that you couldn't control just affected you. And now you're here. And now you're in this red zone. Red. Now all these thoughts keep coming. You got anger. You got fear. You got doubt. You got paranoia. And these things, ooh, I spelled that wrong. Paranoia. And these things are human, and you're going to experience them, and they're going to actually help you upgrade and build defenses. Kind of like me getting the flu. Like, my body's building defenses. I hadn't had the flu in years. Building defenses. You're going to have to feel crap. And you can't control that, and you can't avoid it. I think that's what a lot of people avoid, and that's why they don't do something, because they want to avoid feeling like crap. And the thing about putting yourself out there and like going towards what you really want out of life and giving yourself the life that you deserve, you're going to be susceptible to these feelings, these frustrations, because things that are outside of your control will impede your little happy bubble where you're enjoying your goals, and this is what's going to happen. And it's going to affect your aura. But the thing is, you don't have to stay here. You can actually use all of this as fuel. But the thing is, we try to do this thing where we emotionally bypass the fear, the doubt, anything that's putting us in this prison where we need to be for a second in order to level up. You can't do that. So you're going to be here for a while, feeling these things, but it's up to you whether you choose to stay there or not. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with this. Okay, so you can get back to your equilibrium. So you can get back to your happy state. Because right now, you're open and all of this is oozing out. And guess what? When you keep oozing it out, all this negativity, all this fear and doubt, what do? You attract more of that. You attract more things to be fearful about, more doubt. Now you see somebody on the street and you see all this stuff externally and it's like affecting you because you're consumed by it. You don't see anything else in your world. Nothing is making you happy anymore. And they'll, in medical terms, when the things that used to excite you don't excite you anymore, they'll call that depression, right? And I was depressed for so many years. And sometimes I still fall back into that. Because, I was young and angsty. I was a teenager. I was in high school. You don't have control. You're stuck with your family. You're under somebody else's rules. You don't feel understood at home. Those are all the things I suffered with. And you develop anxiety because you don't know what's going on with your future, but you just feel like you have a higher calling, a higher purpose, and you see yourself in a different light, and you see what you want to be. But all of this is just coming into you. So then you can't move. You can't move when all of this negative energy is coming into you and you're living with this negative energy, these doubts, fears, resentment. You're building up resentment towards a person, place, or thing, and you can't move. You have to be able to take all of this, take it all and make it fuel. Make it fuel. You're not gonna attack any other people. You're not gonna try to make everyone else feel what you're feeling. You're going to make it fuel, and it's going to become part of this membrane, part of your aura, all of that. So now that same thing can happen to you, and it's not going to bother you anymore or it's not going to bother you in the same way because you're using it as fuel. And then when you turn all of that, turning it to fuel, the negativity to fuel, you're back happy again, because guess what? Fuel allows you to move. But you have to move even if you are scared. And then you get your mojo back. But you can't bypass all of that stuff that you need to turn it in. Like there's stuff, you gotta turn all of that into something. You gotta be productive with it. I don't know, sometimes people go to the gym. Sometimes people start a YouTube channel. Sometimes people start a TikTok channel. Sometimes people journal, write a book, write a fantasy novel, become a bestseller. Some people go to school and start to be successful at their job out of spite because they're not going to be in that situation. They're not going to be in that abusive situation again. They're not dealing with that anymore. You have to want it for yourself. Fear shouldn't let you be like this, and it shouldn't make you lash out on people. Fear and doubt should make you want to be better, do better, and experience better. But we're in these times where, especially in America, it's so uncertain. New president came in, all these orders. What do we do? What do we do? You listen to the Magic Conch.
Right, Magic Conch. What do we do now?
Nothing. You can't focus on the things that you can't control. If you can't control it, you can only do your best and show up for yourself and your goals and your dreams, despite whatever it is you feel like your limitations are. Because you know what your limitations are, but you still can reach that threshold. You still can perform. You can still deliver. But it's all choices. It's all about you. Do you really just want that to be a dream? Or do you really feel in your heart like this is for me, like this is what I belong, this is what I know for myself, this is the life that I'm supposed to have? And with that conviction, anything that comes your way, you're able to just be like, and use any adversary as fuel. And that's why I made my song, shameless plug, Soul Drive last year. I was 6 months sober. I was losing a lot of weight. I was in the gym a lot, eating healthy. And that song literally is about, I had to listen to it again as fear was starting to come into my head after hearing all this chaos of January 2025. You know, a lot of retrograde energy, a lot of slow down energy, a lot of things happening that are outside of my control, like me getting the flu twice, me feeling heartbroken, you know, things that I'm going through for the first time. But that song, I was like, oh yeah, I wrote that from a place where I was scared. Like I didn't know, but I had to get the momentum and push gas and stop caring about the outcome or what it's going to look like. Because God's going to take care of that. God's going to take care of that. So any pain, anything, you got to make sure you create it as a shield. You put it in so that all your happy things, your happy, strong characteristics, anything that makes you feel strong, anything that makes you feel stable is always going to be intact. And this becomes fuel. And then it's harder. Now, this is what I've learned from my experience. Now, it's more difficult for things to penetrate. But you cannot, under any circumstance, emotional bypass. You have to feel the fear. You have to feel the pain. You have to feel the emotions. Just sit with them. It might take a week or two, maybe even a month. And just be like, okay. And then sometimes God will force you to sit down. You feel like you're not making progress, but you're making progress because you're processing. And then you propel forward after you integrate everything. And it becomes a part of your auric field. Like it's like a defense. And then you're stronger than ever before. But you just have to consistently remind yourself of the life that you envision for yourself, who you are. I don't care if you struggle with self-worth, self-esteem, self-respect. You keep making the same mistakes. You keep repeating the same lessons. Okay, that's the reality. That's the truth. But as long as you keep trying and you keep showing up for yourself, eventually that defense will be there. So yeah, we're not living in fear 2025. We're not living in doubt 2025. We aren't making excuses 2025.